Two old guys that ain't taking their crap no more. You're listening to Earl and George.
Welcome to Earl and George. My name is George.
And I'm Earl.
And that's Mr. Producer in there. And I thought I set him up for success and pretty much set him up for failure.
Yep.
Coming up on today's show, liberals lose their minds.
Again.
Today, this week.
Isn't that always and forever?
North Korea shoots more missiles.
After we praised them. Yeah. Congratulations.
And more statues have come down. And, I usually do three things at the top of the show. Like, coming up on today's show, number one, number two. Today's number four. So, number one, liberals lose their minds. Number two, Korea shoots missiles. That's the Japanese.
I know.
It's fine.
That was horrible.
More racist.
Yeah, I know it.
More statues come down.
Say it ain't so.
And Colin Kaepernick still sucks.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Yes,
I think he's going to be. I think he is quickly moving into the token douche position above Kanye West.
Really?
I was going to say I need to put him as one of my tokens.
I think Colin Kaepernick is real. He is politicking hard for that token douche spot. Right? I mean, we talk about Kanye. He's really not doing anything, but he's always kind of a token douche. But Colin Kaepernick is working his tail off for that spot.
Along with the NAACP helping him.
So today we got a little bit of format change for the show. Usually we do the douche of the week right at about the end of the first hour. Right. I think we're going to change that, and we're going to talk about it. That's going to be our wrap up. We're going to end the show by congratulating each week the douche of the week. So just stick around for that. We want to thank everybody. Are you logged in on? Okay.
No, because I don't have an Earl account.
Oh, you do. You don't have I don't have a George account either. By the way, thank you guys so much for all of the downloads. I think we're at 7. There's nothing. No, I'm just kidding. We're at hundreds.
We're
now,
at
110
or something like
110 of the last episode. So we literally in 5 episodes, we've gone from 0 to over 100, which means next week we should be at like 4 or 5 million, maybe. I think, right? Thank you guys so much for
fingers crossed.
This is how you organically grow the show. Okay, we don't throw any money into buying Facebook likes and all that nonsense. We simply just talk and wrap up the show and wrap up the week rather, and then you guys consume our product, as it were, and distribute it. So thank you guys so much for the support. I know SoundCloud's going really well.
Yep.
The show, of course, live on Spreaker most weekends. And if it's not live, we make it sound live. Pull back the curtain.
Because we are professionals.
There you go. Most of the time. How's everything else going? I know the mobile app's going real well. The store is up now. We got a brand new designed earlandgeorge.com. You can go check that out.
Yeah, George didn't like my design. He threw up a quick one.
I believe the quote last week was, "It's hideous."
Yeah, it was.
And within a couple of hours, I was like, "Earl, check this out."
Yep.
You're like, "Dude."
Yep.
So, yeah, we just kind of threw some graphics up there, had some fun with it. But the store's up. You can now go and you can order some Earl and George swag. We've got a newly designed T-shirt. We're starting to put together some of the Founding Father flannel that we talked about, the Triple F Founding Father flannel, with quotes of the Founding Fathers sewn into the lining of the flannel shirt. So, by the way, none of this stuff is cheap. So we want you to go and spend a lot of money supporting the show. And help us keep growing it. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care what it takes. We're going to make this show into something huge because what we have to say is important. What Earl has to say is important. What I have to say is not as important as what he has to say. But I'm just the guy that tells you. Okay. All right. Now, so much. Oh, my gosh. So much has happened this week. It's crazy. I want to start, and I really want to get your take on the we had several resignations a couple weeks ago. The Bond villain Scaramucci was in for 3 days. Now he's gone. And now all of a sudden we thought Gorka was solid. What is going on with Sebastian Gorka? He's now out. He has resigned from the Trump administration. And the last couple guys, I mean, even Bannon was like, look, inside the government, there is a no kidding effort to derail the Trump presidency. We
right.
just think it's BLM and Antifa and the media and fake news and all this stuff inside the government itself. Bannon mentioned it when he stormed out and said the best way I can make America great again is not being in the White House. Now Gorka says the same thing.
Yep.
Here's what he said in this letter. Given recent events, quote, I'm quoting Sebastian Gorka, quote, it is clear to me that forces do not support the Make America Great Again promise are for now ascendant within the White House.
Wow.
Is he talking about General Kelly? That's the last guy who got promoted to the high level.
Yeah, and he's the one that's supposedly changing everything up in the White House. So,
continuing his quote, Gorka said, as a result, the best and most effective way I can support you, Mr. President, is from outside the people's house. Make America great. Okay, so I don't need to say that. Quote, regrettably, outside of yourself, the individuals who most embodied and represented the policies that will, quote, make America great again have been internally countered, systematically removed, or undermined in recent months.
that's the part that really made me go, what? Because
who are these people?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Unless he's specifically referring to Bannon.
Sebastian's out. See, I mean, well, what I'm saying is he said that that the people countering Trump's agenda and the agenda we want of Make America Great Again are being countered and put out. Here's the thing that got me. Okay, when later on he says, quote, the fact that those who drafted and approved the speech, he's talking about the one in Afghanistan, removed any mentions of radical Islam or radical Islamic terrorism proves that a crucial element of your presidential campaign has been lost.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are doing damage control over the whole Charlottesville thing, and they're trying to stay away from labels right now. But
why is Trump allowing this?
I don't know.
Why is he now get up on stage, read the cue cards? You know, we joked about how Trump, you know, President Obama was a fantastic public speaker. Okay,
Right.
I mean, he had the momentum, he had tempo, he had humor, he had the look, he had the right.
Yeah.
You know, he was able to flow. And Trump is nothing like that. The guy's a terrible public speaker.
Gets off the topic a lot too.
But his agenda's right.
Yeah.
Okay, forget the fact that he can't do a speech well. The agenda, the policies are correct, right?
Yep.
But now we have people writing the speeches, and the president is going, okay, I'm just going to read it as it is. Now, he still gets off when he has to compliment somebody. I was watching the VA speech, and he was like, and the American Legion has done a bunch to help us with this legislation. And he turns around and he goes, just want to thank you. And I want to thank you. And you know, the speechwriter was like, hey, just read the teleprompter.
Yep.
I just want to thank you. He points. He's like, yeah, thanks, buddy. You know, it's like, it's terrible.
Giving him the thumbs up.
He's a terrible public speaker because he does this hand thing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just, it's his
that
tempo.
People try to say is white power.
Oh my God, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just terrible. And but Sebastian Gorka is so solid, one of the best presidents or spokesmen I've seen. He's making a serious claim here. My question to the American people, is he right?
I don't know if he's questioning the American people. I think he's questioning.
No, what I'm saying, my question to the American people is Sebastian Gorka right? Have we lost some fundamental, crucial element, and I'm quoting him here, of the presidential campaign?
I think it has. This past week definitely has changed a lot of things in terms of President Trump's agenda and what he wanted to do, and one of the things that I voted for. Because he's, like you said, when he was doing the Afghanistan speech, Islamic terrorism was never mentioned, and it should have been mentioned. And the Republicans are making him continue the failed policies of both Bush's administration and Obama's administration with Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was a weird week when it came to President Trump's agenda, and then, like you said, this kind of came out of the blue. What does he know that we don't know about what's going on behind the scenes with the MAGA?
Mm-hmm.
So
it just really bothers me when somebody who's solidly a conservative, who knows these principles inside and out, who is a policy guy inside and out, he knows foreign policy, is saying this.
Yeah.
It really bothers me.
Yeah.
We can't have this.
Nope.
We really can't. Quote, I'm continuing Sebastian Gorka's letter. Quote, the omission should seriously disturb my national security professionals, any national security professional, and any American who is unsatisfied with the 16 years of disastrous policy decisions which have led to thousands of Americans killed and trillions of tax dollars spent in ways that have not brought security or victory. Speaking of Afghanistan.
Right.
He's exactly right. He is exactly right. Now, the president came out. He made some speeches about Afghanistan. Would you do me a favor and play, Mr. Producer, play cut 7 for me, since we're talking about Gorka and Afghanistan? Go ahead and play cut 7.
In every foreign policy decision, we are making clear that we will always put the safety and security of our citizens first. That is why early this week I announced a new strategy in Afghanistan and South Asia. We will pursue an honorable and enduring outcome in Afghanistan, worthy of the tremendous sacrifice our troops have already made. We will give our men and women in uniform the tools they need and the trust they have earned to fight and to win.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I just speak for the only person that fought in Afghanistan in this building right now? Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Right.
The rules of engagement that we have fought on for the last 16 years have been crazy. The SOFA, the Status of Forces Agreement that we sign with these countries when we're in their country, trying to help them actually work against the American soldier. So as one, I'm not CNN, I'm not Don Lemon, I'm not these idiot brain disease liberals who are like, oh my gosh, a change of policy, we're whatever. He is exactly right.
Yep.
Give the commanders the ability to fight a war. Guess what? American commanders will win. It's plain and simple. That's all. It's plain and simple. Whether they call it radical Islamic terrorism or what, I don't care. Give them the tools they need to win and bring our men and women home.
Indeed.
We have got to get out of there, dude.
16 years. Yeah, and the fact of the matter is it still goes back to Bush for not having an exit strategy, and then Obama ignored it just to go for Iraq. He just wanted to bring everybody home from Iraq, and now that's a whole cluster cuss. So
yeah, I mean, they opened up the door, the vacuum. We can't do that. His remarks, and I didn't have any of his remarks the other day from when he was talking about Afghanistan, but I watched it, and my mom said, she sent me a text message immediately following the press conference from the president. What do you think of this? And I was busy working on something else, and I said, I'll watch it. I watched it that night, and all I kept doing was nodding. Yes, nodding in agreement. We can't just vacate the country. Why? We will leave a power vacuum. The Afghan forces are not powerful enough to defend their own country. That's what happened in Iraq.
The first time or the second time? Well, both actually happened both times.
Yeah. We can't do it. That's why the Taliban took over when the Russians left.
Yep.
The Mujahideen are the good guys.
Yep.
Okay? When the Russians pulled out, the Taliban, ultra conservative, radical Islamic philosophy took over. Not, hey, I'm a Muslim and you're a Christian, and that's, I disagree with you, you disagree with me, whatever. We'll live and let live and live in peace. Radical Islamic Sharia law, you will do what I say, and if you don't agree with me, I'm going to slit your throat. Radical Islam.
Yep.
That's what's happening in Iraq. That's what ISIS is. They're just the most strict. Your beard has to come out of the bottom of your. Go like this. Grab the bottom of your beard. Make a fist.
Right.
See, you and I would both not be allowed in that culture because our beards do not come out the bottom of our hands. They have rules for everything. Like, it is the most totalitarian regime there is. Islam itself, and I don't speak for all Islam. I am not Islamic, but I know from being in that country for years, Islam is two things. Number one, it is the most totalitarian religious concept on the planet. And number two, it is antithetical to a liberty-loving, Constitution-believing society in the American Republic.
Yep.
They cannot exist.
They hate everything about Western morals and Western values.
So I'm absolutely okay with the president saying we're going to change our strategy.
Well, I don't think he was strong enough. I mean, I agree with what he said about giving the military leaders more control, but I wanted more. I wanted him to come out and do a little bit different. To me,
Like what more? What? Because he actually said, "Hey, we're not going to give away our timetable. This is going to be
right." And I agree with that.
This is going to be on the ground. Situational based tactics. We're going to give the commanders the ability to fight a war and win. We're not going to give away our playbook to the bad guys, right?
Right.
Everything he said was right. What more did you want? We're going to carpet bomb them into what? Into the 1700s? Believe me, they already live in the 1700s.
This is a tinfoil hat moment. I think the military complex pressured it a little bit more than I would have liked them to, because again, it seems like it's a failed Bush philosophy, except for the fact that he is putting control back into the military people's hands. And with our SecDef, I got to think that it's going to be a little bit better of an outcome. So I don't know. I just wasn't on point with it 100% with what he said. I wanted more.
I can understand that. I can get it. Afghanistan is not a combat theater for conventional forces. You do not roll tanks through Afghanistan.
Right.
We need special operations forces, and the number one job of the SF is to train indigenous forces to fight their own dang wars.
Yep.
Okay? We need to train. That's the success we saw when we first went in there, and we've transitioned into the supporting nonsense. We need to get back to that. Look, let the Green Berets and the SEALs do what they do best. Kill people and break things. It's Earl and George. We'll be right back to talk about more military stuff, the transgender ban.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's Earl and George. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? Amid the chaos? Or is the best time perhaps today? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I'm not having a good day today.
Okay.
It's the last weekend of the month.
Mama always said that if you keep making that face, it's going to stay that way. You're listening to Earl and George.
Music is way too loud, dude. So, all right, ready, Mr. Producer? We're gonna
No, I'm not.
deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Just let it out. Get back in the show. He was like, "We're live. We're live." Yes. Welcome back to Earl and George. Hey,
Sorry for the dead air.
Hey, you know what? It's some days you know it's like golf. It's like golf, man. Here's the deal. Like I will swing the golf club 9 times and just shank every ball the end of that thing touches, and then I make this beautiful shot that keeps me. It's one of those
and
things.
Nobody's watching.
And they're like, "Did you see me? I was like 2 foot from the hole," and they're like, "Never happened," because you killed a squirrel over there in the bushes with your previous shot, right? That's kind of how it works when you're in the control room in there, and he's because he's like, "What this stuff?" It's okay, whatever. We can get past it. So this week the president comes out and starts laying out. Again, we told you liberals are losing their minds. Why? Because the president of the United States is doing exactly what he said he would do.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. President. And that's what I said about President Obama. Right? All the Republicans were like, "Oh, he's doing this. It's illegal. It's immigrants." And I said, "Guys, he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do."
Yep.
8 months after President Obama was elected, we were all losing our minds too. So guess what? Well, welcome to the other side of the pendulum, baby.
Yep, for real. We put up with 8 years of your guy. But it
gets worse, man. It gets worse because not only did we have to endure. Hey man, cue up cut 1. So not only do we have to endure 8 years of Obama and everything he said he was going to do, and it was like, okay, we're going to work against you. We are going to try to fulfill our agenda. We're going to tell you when your policies suck and all this other stuff. But did anybody on the Republican side, did anybody say something like this?
We wouldn't, as a movement, take a seat at the table with Trump because we wouldn't have done that with Hitler.
My
Trump
God.
is literally the epitome of evil. All the evils of this
Epitome.
country, be it racism, capitalism, sexism, homophobia. And he has set out some of the most dangerous policies, not just that impacts this country, but impacts the globe. And so for us, the answer is not to sit with Trump, but to resist him and to resist every single policy that he's implemented that impacts our communities. And I think if I'm thinking about what I want my children to know in 30, 40, 50 years.
All right, cut her off. I can't stand it. Capitalism? The evils of this country. Quote, the evils of this country, be it racism, capitalism, sexism, or homophobia.
Which, by the way, just for everybody out there that is listening to this show on a device, you are a fan of capitalism, and you just don't realize it.
I love capitalism.
Oh, I love it, too.
Yes. Go to earlandgeorge.com, click store, be a capitalist. Show her how much of a giant capitalist you are, and buy a bunch of our crap.
Right.
Please.
Yes.
Go be a capitalist. I'm all about that.
But why are they always jumping on capitalism? Is it because it actually gives people the opportunity to change their life?
Because they're communists and socialists.
Well, I get that. So she was a Bernie supporter then, I'm guessing.
She's probably a Marx supporter.
Right.
A Lenin supporter. And that's the kind of stuff that they let slip. And if you listen to the quote again, she's like, be it racism or capitalism, that was almost like a Freudian slip. Like you didn't want to say that because they want to keep the fact that BLM, Antifa are all communists.
Right.
Because it's easy to say the evils of racism. Yeah, I'm a white dude. I will tell you racism is evil. There's sexism. Yes, I'm a male. I will tell you sexism is evil. Homophobia. Yes, I'm heterosexual. Homophobia is evil. See, that's the easy stuff. We all agree with that. Right. If you are actually a racist, I stand against you. If you are actually a sexist, I stand against you. If you hate someone because of they have sex differently than you do and are attracted to a different gender, I will stand against you. I don't care what they do. But when you say racism and capitalism, I just slipped up.
Yep.
Now I'm showing everybody I'm a communist. See, that's you got to pay real attention to that.
But capitalism's evil now, thanks to Bernie Sanders, because he told everybody that the rich 1% are the ones that are the reason for the world's problems,
and therefore he's given away all of his money, right?
Right. No. And then he was photoed in an Audi R8, and people were like, "Oh, that was somebody that worked for his campaign."
That wasn't him.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't him. It was a different guy.
Are you sure?
Yes, I actually did research on that.
Okay, my bad. I didn't look into it.
But it looked just like the guy. He doesn't own an Audi R8.
But he does have like 3 homes, and his wife bankrupt a university.
Absolutely, and Colin Kaepernick still sucks. Just want to point that out. Just want to make that note. Okay. So earlier this week, nobody I know and nobody I remember said we are not going to sit down with the president because he's Hitler. Because we wouldn't sit down with Hitler.
Right.
Nobody on the conservative side said that. But I remember saying at the beginning of President Obama's, and she didn't say president. They won't even let them say.
That's one thing that aggravates me.
I mean, they're all liberal. The liberal mind is a diseased mind, and I have quote unquote liberal friends. Guess what? They have the same brain cancer as my mom does. They're all just wacko, okay? Because they'll talk at it, and when they slip up like that, they talk out of both sides of their mouth. I'm going to say things that you're going to agree with. Racism is bad, right, Earl?
Yes.
Sexism is bad, right, Mr. Producer? Just nod. Yeah, just okay. Homophobia is bad, right, Earl?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Shouldn't hate on anybody for any reason, period.
Well, until I get to know them, I get to choose who I hate.
Right.
Right? I don't hate. I mean, I will dislike a whole lot of people, but I'm not going to look at somebody and go, see that brown person over there? Just hate them. Why? Look at the way they walk.
Look at the clothes they're
look
wearing.
At that's crazy. Look at that. Look at that guy wearing the gun. What a Looney Tune.
Yep.
That's all they're doing. But they'll say things like, we're going to say things that get people to agree with us. Don't slip up and say we're against capitalism. Don't do that. So earlier this week, the president changed some military. He announced a new military policy, effectively changing the criteria for military service and overseas. Let me see. Which one was it? That's not it. I got to find the story here. He basically said, because the military, I was in the military. I did 17 years. My last position was with a special forces unit. And I got to get there. There it is. So he basically said to include flat-footed, to include asthma, to include diabetes, to include all of these things that bar you from military service, transgenderism is one as well.
Yeah.
However, he didn't say we want to kick all the people out. But that's what they're telling you. Oh, this racist, homophobic, anti-gay, transgender, blah blah blah. He's the sexist, racist. Play Trump is evil. It's the green one.
Oh,
it's the green one. Yeah, play.
Which one?
It literally is the one.
Trump is evil.
just keep that one ready. Okay, just keep that one.
Okay.
By the way, you're not going to get tired of hearing that soundbite all day long. White House issued a memorandum Friday putting President Trump's promise to ban transgender persons from the military into practice. Carlos Garcia wrote this. A Mexican!
Right.
A Mexican! See, that's racist. That's stupid.
Yeah.
It's just idiotic.
Because Garcia could be anything.
Yeah, of course. But that's what they'll do.
Right. I know.
How dare you say that? This is so racist of you. Racist. It sounds like South Park or whatever that is. Racist. Trump had previously announced his plan to ban transgender persons from the military in July, but had offered no official guidance on how to implement the policy. The memo answers some of the questions. Most controversial will be his order that no medical efforts be made to accommodate transgender persons.
Yep.
Are there medical efforts to accommodate the other two genders? The answer is no.
Well,
other than maternity leave.
Yeah, that's what they claim. They claim since maternity leave is granted, then they should grant all health rights to everybody. That's the whole caveat to their argument.
Can I just point out that a transgendered man who transgenders into a woman can't have maternity leave? Just want to throw that little piece of science out there to you. CBS White House correspondent Mark Knoller reported, quote, the Trump memorandum bars entry to the military of transgender individuals and ends new funding for sex reassignment surgery, end quote.
Wow.
Quote, the Trump directive is vague on the issue of currently serving transgender persons and leaves it up to the Secretary of Defense Mattis to decide, he added. Trump spoke about his intention to ban transgender persons in the military 2 weeks before issuing the official memo, saying, quote, I have a great respect for the community. I think I've had great support, or I have great support from the community. He's terrible.
Right.
Just stop it, Mr. President. But a follow-up to that is a new study, a recent study that was done that actually supports the president's position.
It was actually...
Not yet. Not yet. I know what you're going to say. It's a I'm air finger quoting. It's a recent study, everybody. Okay? Just chillax over there. Deployability is the determining factor of whether transgender individuals can be admitted into the military under President Trump's plan. It is not a ban.
Right.
It is not a ban. If you are a transgendered person, you meet the qualifications, ergo you don't have diabetes, you're not flat-footed, and so on.
Make it through boot camp.
I know people who are not transgendered that are undeployable.
Right.
Why? They have a medical condition.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
You know, I had a buddy of mine who had what they call it a dead man profile. Like, it literally said, so-and-so cannot push a broom.
Wow.
Right? So in the military, if you have a profile, like you're injured or you back issues or whatever, you can still serve. You just can't be deployed.
Right.
So all the president has done has said, okay, deployability is now whether we will allow transgender people to serve. Because if you have a heart to serve this country,
you have the right to.
Go serve the country. Rock on. Male, female, transgender, I don't care. Pick up a gun. Follow me. Okay? That's I don't care. I remember when the whole thing was, gays in the military. I was a high-ranking NCO, and I was like, guys, you know what? I'm defending her from anybody who's trying to attack her. I'm defending that guy because he's black from anybody who's trying to attack him. I'm defending that guy because he's Jewish. I'm going to defend Mohammed over here because he's, why? Because we all wear the same uniform. We all defend the same country. So it doesn't matter. And maybe I was the 1% that said, you put on the colors of my country, you are my brother and sister. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care who you pray to.
Right.
I don't care what you got between your legs. I don't care.
Regardless, they wore your uniform, so you were there.
We were
for
all the same color in my mind. We were green. We were all green, right? So now,
unless you're one of those Navy boys.
Well, racism. So he didn't ban. There's no ban on transgender people serving in the military. By the way, if you turn on any media outlet right now, they're going to say the president bans transgenders from serving in the military. And then they will claim he's lying when he says he's not.
Even though he's never mentioned a ban.
When they're the ones lying to you about it. Right. People, I'm telling you, man, the media, they are the enemy. He was absolutely right when he said that. They are the enemy for your mind.
Right. And the first thing a liar will always do is try to convince the world they're not lying. So,
transgender soldier will be unable to deploy for 230. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. On the average, transgender soldier will be unable to deploy for 238 days after sex change surgery due to recovery time, according to a recent study. The Rand Corporation conducted a study assessing the implementations of allowing transgender personnel to serve openly in the military. The study sought to address the following research questions. Quote, what are the health care needs of the transgender population? What is the estimated transgender population in the military? How many transgender people? Blah, 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 blah. Other key findings. At the time of the study, there were 1,300 to 6,600 transgender serving in the military.
Now, see, that's a thing that the media often misquotes. They often say there are hundreds of thousands of them serving in our military.
At the time of the study.
Right.
Okay, at the time of the study. And when I tell you when the study was, you'll say there's no way it goes from 1,300 to between 13 and 66, because some of them haven't outed themselves.
Right.
It's fine. To hundreds of thousands. The reason for the wide range is that policies on transgender service that are time limited the amount of data. There are approximately 1.3 million active service in the. Can anybody do me the math and divide? Let's just max it out. 6,600 by 1.3 million people, and then multiply that times 100 for me, please. Healthcare costs would increase by $2.4 to $8.4 million annually in order to cover gender transition-related health coverage. Not the surgeries, but the hormone treatments, the shots, the medical visits, all of that. Estimates indicate that 29 and 129 service members, between 29 and 129 service members in the active component will seek transition-related care each year that could disrupt their ability to deploy. What is that again? What was the math there?
Oh, I'm still trying to figure it out.
You take 6,600 divided by 1.3 million and multiply it times 100.
6,600 divided by 1.3
yeah, that would
million.
be 1,300,000.
And then multiply it by
100.
100.
Yeah, tell me what that is. 0.00.
0.5.
It can't be 0.5. 0.5?
That's what it says.
No, it can't be. No, you did. Maybe we did something wrong there. Maybe I should do the math. Right? Because I'm trying to get the percentage.
Right.
Right? Because the total number is 1.3 million. That goes on the bottom. Right? Or is it X over 100? What is it? Help me, Mr. Producer. You're the math guru. What is it? It's low. How about that? It's just freaking low. This is rule number 3. You know you're never supposed to act with children, animals, or do math live on the radio. That's the problem.
5% or 0.005.
Thank you. 0.005. Yeah.
66.
So 1/2 of 1/2 of 1/2 of 1%, basically.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about. The study was commissioned in 2016.
What?
By the Obama administration.
Dude.
Dun, dun, dun. Study was commissioned by former President Barack Obama's administration and funded by the Office of former Secretary of Defense Ash Carter. Thank you very much, President Obama, for actually doing something that helped President Obama. President Trump. He's right. Okay? However, again, you turn on any media outlet, they've banned transgenders from joining the military. Totally 100% untrue. Give me the evil.
Trump is evil.
But apparently not evil enough.
You're quasi-evil. You're semi-evil. You're the margarine of evil. You're the Diet Coke of evil. Just 1 calorie, not evil enough.
All right, when we come back, the president was in Phoenix this week.
Oh man,
we're going to talk about that. Coming up, we're going to talk about maybe a little Korea. I don't know. More statues came down. And our friends, the Southern Poverty Law Center, back in the news. We'll talk about that and more. And, of course, coming up at the end of the show, you got to stay with us. We choose the douche of the week. Of course, they get a trophy and a special prize. It's Earl and George. Check us out on Facebook, Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google something or other. I forgot another one. Which one was it?
I wasn't paying attention.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Just go like us on Facebook. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. It's Earl and George. It's aged conservative talk like nobody else. We'll be right back.
Hi, Mom. Is Claire's birthday party today? Me again, Mom. Where did I put my history book? Hi. Sorry, forgot one last thing. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate. At school, I start looking out the window, and then I forget what I was supposed to be thinking about. I know it seems like I don't care, but I do. It's just difficult for me. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Mama was always right, because she said so. You're listening to Earl and George.
Yes, she was. By the way, if you have a horse named Traveler, literally just go put it out of its misery. It is the most racist equine ever. How dare that horse choose its own name?
Right.
Traveler, which, by the way, was the name of Robert E. Lee's horse. The University of Southern California, the Trojans, their mascot, who rides underneath the Trojan warrior, the white, oppressive, sword-carrying Trojan, right? What else can we say about him? They talk about the white man looking down on, okay, he's on horseback, and he's on a horse named after Robert E. Lee. How more racist can you get?
Right.
But don't forget, Trump is evil. Yeah, you are not paying attention today.
Trump is evil.
All right. Steve, there was a good press conference. We'll talk about the president's rally here in Phoenix in a little bit. But, coming up in September, I just want to just touch on this really quick, get your thoughts on this. I am so sick of this debt ceiling thing.
Right.
We just spent 8 years raising the debt ceiling, okay? And I have been through, you're pulling up debt clock, aren't you? I see, still usdebtclock.org.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we're still ranging around 19 trillion.
Yeah, 19.9.
19.9. We're about to hit 20 trillion. When that happens, the left is going to lose their ever-loving minds, okay?
And try to blame Trump somehow.
Oh, they're going to. They're definitely They're definitely going to do that. Now, cue up cut 2. During the press conference, General McMaster came up. By the way, I do not want to fight that dude. That dude is awesome. Can I just say? And also, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin was there and got a question about the debt ceiling. And you'd think a conservative would say, you know what? We've got to figure out how to lower our costs. We've got to. This is the Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin. And he gets a question. And he's like, sounds like an Obama liberal.
Secretary, I want to come back to the debt ceiling. You sound completely confident the debt ceiling will be raised in September?
Yes, I am 100% confident. Leader McConnell said the same thing last week. I think there is no scenario where the government won't be paying its bills.
So what did the president mean when he said in the tweet this morning, now it's a mess? He said it could have been easy if it was attached to the VA, now a mess. What did he mean by that?
Well, again, I think there's a lot to do in September. We have the debt ceiling. We have the continuing resolution to fund the government. We have a budget. Congress has a lot of work this month. And I think the president and I wish that they had raised the debt ceiling before they left. Having said that, we are where we are, and we're going to get it done.
The president and I wish they had raised the debt ceiling?
Right.
How about stop freaking spending?
Right.
If the American people ran their household budgets like the government does, when AT&T calls and says, Mr. George, your AT&T bill's a little bit. You know what? I'm sorry. I didn't raise the debt ceiling this month, guys. I'm sorry. Let me just go raise the debt ceiling.
And then keep going. I'll pay you when I can pay you.
What in the world? I thought we were fiscal conservatives. I thought we were the party, and I thought we were the conservative movement, the constitutional conservative movement that said, stop freaking spending.
We're supposed to be.
But the problem is they will not pass anything. Nothing on this president's agenda. Nothing. And you know what's going to happen is Mitch McConnell.
I can't stand him.
Mitch McConnell, we should have drained his ass with the swamp. I said that in
Mongolian wild ass.
We should have drained. It's too late now. We'll just edit it out. People think we do the show live. I'm just kidding. We do the show live. We are live. We are live.
Yeah.
He's live. All of our affiliates are like, just say what you were going to say. Here's the deal. Mitch McConnell's going to be like, we don't have any choice. We've got to do it. Democrats are going to be like, yep. Bam, 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 and they're going to sign it. And you know who's going to stand up to it? The Freedom Caucus.
Right.
The actual conservatives in the Senate. The actual people in the conservative movement in the House of Representatives. They're going to say, guys, stop freaking spending. We own the House. We own the Senate. Why is the House continuing to spend? You have the power of the purse.
Right.
Stop it.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult. What do you think of this debt ceiling now? Here we are raising it again.
And then with Mnuchin saying that he wanted it raised after he provided such a awesome budget, it made me go, what? Did he really just say he was raising it? Because the budget was cutting everything that needed to be cut. And now he's continuing to spend lavishly like the government has been doing.
They were cutting everything, and the news media was like, oh, he's cutting education, and he's cutting this.
It should be cut. It should be closed.
Yeah. He's cutting he's cutting this, and he's cutting that. He's raising his. Where was that little slide chart where it's like green on one side, red on the other? And he went through, and he was cutting this and raising that and cutting this. Oh, we're cutting the government by $130 billion. So why do we need to raise the debt ceiling?
Well, and then
pass the budget.
A lot of the Democrats were arguing that if we don't raise the debt ceiling, this is the argument they always give, that soldiers are the ones that aren't going to get money and that we're not going to be able to pay our interest on the loans that we have. And that's not true.
May I, as a former government accountant, again, I have the strangest resume of anybody you probably know, explain how that works. It's called obligation and disbursement.
Right.
Okay? The government is obligated to pay its bills by law. So what happens, again, you've got U.S. debt clock.
Yep.
You're looking at the $19.9 trillion is the amount of money we owe people or foreign governments or whatever. That's our debt. But look, what is our unfunded liability, please?
$107.2 trillion.
$107.2 trillion. That's actually the amount of money that we have to pay. We are obligated to pay.
Yep.
And I believe it came last week. It was 137 trillion or something. It was up there a couple weeks ago.
That's total national asset. No, that's assets. Sorry.
No. I mean, maybe last year it was up there. I remember 137 trillion as our unfunded liability. And if it's down to 100, which means if that's actually true, doesn't that mean that the president has already saved us $30 trillion in liability?
I was going to say, if I need to go back and listen to the episode when we were talking about that, because I swear it was higher when we were talking about it.
It was like 130 something trillion.
I think, I don't know if it was that high, but I remember it being somewhere around like 110, 115.
I specifically remember last year it was much higher than it is now.
Still.
The debt keeps going up.
Right.
And by the way, as we say every week on this show, do not take a word we say as fact. Go look it up for yourself. I am not your truth sayer.
Google is your friend sometimes.
Okay? I am not your truth sayer. Earl is not your truth sayer. We will tell you the truth, but we want you to go and look it up. But it shocks me that, quote unquote, I got to take a picture of you now, Mr. Producer. Turn around and look at him. He's got his music headphones on his right ear and off his left, and then he's got the show headphones on his left ear and off his right. What are you listening to today? He's got a giant dip in his mouth.
I do. Because,
you are a country boy. I love it.
I do not look like a country boy.
What are you listening to?
Not
us. I know.
No,
what is it?
No, I'm listening to you too. I can multitask.
So the left side of your brain is listening to music. The right side of your brain is listening to the Earl and George show.
Actually, yes. I mean,
is that how it's working?
Yeah, pretty much.
So how does a constitutional conservative sleep at night by going, I am 100%, and he blamed the president. The president and I are 100% satisfied that the debt ceiling will be increased.
Right.
No fiscal conservative says that.
Nope.
How do you sleep at night, Mr. Mnuchin?
Like I said,
does this go back to what Gorka was saying?
That angered me because he's represented himself as being a different person than he's turning out to be.
But does it go back to what Gorka was saying?
It could possibly.
Have we turned the corner to big government republicanism again?
I hope not.
It sure seems that way when our Treasury Secretary is talking about, oh yeah, man, no, don't worry about that debt ceiling thing. Me and the liberals got it. Me and the Dems we got that one passed. Oh yeah, Mitch McConnell, he's totally on board. What? Aren't we supposed to be giving the American people their money back?
Yes.
Not taking more of it.
That'd be nice.
It would be nice. Well, and here's the other thing. This is all matter of law, by the way. Okay? The debt ceiling has to be passed by Congress and signed. The budget has to be passed by Congress and signed, which, by the way, happens years in advance. Okay?
Right.
The minute the budget's signed, the minute. I'm sorry if you're a little person. I just want to totally not evil enough. Give me that one, just for all the mini-me's out there. And you are off your game today.
You're quasi-evil. You're semi-evil. You're the margarine of evil. You're the Diet Coke of evil. Just 1 calorie, not evil enough.
I would call him mini-me. So, anyway, sorry. That was a slip of the tongue there. Like capitalism is bad, right?
Right.
What was I talking about?
I'm looking at the debt clock. I'm trying to figure out if I can find where it says what our unfunded liabilities were in 2012, because that's when the furthest it goes back.
Furthest?
But whatever.
Public school education.
Yeah. In 2021, though, they're claiming that we will actually be 128 trillion unfunded liabilities, and that our national debt will be 22 trillion by 2021.
Woohoo! Way
Right?
to go, man.
Yep.
All right. I was saying we are supposed to be giving the American people's money back. Okay. We're supposed to be stopping all this excessive spending. We're not.
Historically, yes, we're supposed to do that.
How can Mitch McConnell, who, by the way, when they were raising the debt ceiling under President Obama, was like, no, we're bad. All the Republicans voted against raising the debt ceiling. Even Obama himself during the Bush years said, this national debt that's out of control is unpatriotic. It's un-American.
Right.
And here we are, 8 years later, 4 years later, and Mitch McConnell's like, raise that debt ceiling. Woo, let's go, baby. And I guarantee you what's going to happen. The Democrats are going to be like, oh, no, that's fiscally irresponsible. We shouldn't be doing that. We don't raise the debt ceiling. Look, this just proves that they don't have a budget, and this just proves that he shouldn't be in the White House. It's literally the pendulum has swung. You mark my words. In September, the Democrats are all going to be like, we need to save the American people money. We can't. This is totally irresponsible spending on the. And the Republicans are going to be like, raise the debt. Raise the debt.
Well, I think both of the parties are out of whack for several reasons. And I think the fact that President Trump technically isn't, I mean, yes, he's a conservative, but he's not a politician. So I think the Republicans and the Democrats are just fighting to make sure they get somebody back in there that is a politician.
It's insane, man. Yep. I totally agree with you. Those Republicans that are drowning in the swamp they're happier than pigs in slop right now.
Yeah.
And
McConnell's one of them.
And the liberals, they're no better. They're like, yeah, baby, we got this one. Lying, and I mean, it's crazy. Okay. When we come back, we'll shift gears a little bit and we'll talk about. Well, let's get through some of these sound bites real quick before the top of the hour, and we'll get through some of these the sound bites from the president in Phoenix. When we come back, it's Earl and George. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to The Cat Show. Up next, we have Nico. Nico is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right. A group known especially for their sunspot sleeping, ball chasing, leg rubbing, and of course, companionship. Just look how she struts.
It's like she owns the place.
And see how she curls up and cuddles her person.
The pitch on her purring is simply perfect.
Nice one.
Fantastic cat. But really the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Nico is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Mama always said that if you keep playing with it, it'll fall off. You're listening to Earl and George.
In 2014.
By the way, George is the cute one.
Yes, sorry. He gave me the finger. And in radio, when you give somebody the finger, it means don't talk. No, it's not that finger, everybody. It's the index finger, the hold-on finger. Gosh, you people. In 2014, the unfunded liability was $127 trillion.
Wow.
Yeah, just... Well, that's only $1.1 million per taxpayer, according to 2012's thing.
It was how much again?
127 trillion. And this
and
this
now
is from
we're at
Forbes.
107.
This is from Forbes. At usdebtclock.org, federal unfunded liabilities are estimated at near $127 trillion, which is roughly $1.1 million. That's from Forbes in 2012. In fact, the month was, I think it was October 2012.
Wow.
Let me just verify that. No, January 17th, 2012 is a Forbes article. 127 trillion. I knew it was much higher than that. So from 2014 to now, right? President Obama and President Trump have whittled down the unfunded liabilities. It was really President Trump down to $107 trillion because President Obama was just on a spending spree with your money. All right. President Trump was in Phoenix. Talking. First he was at the American Legion. Let's do this, and then we come back at the top of the hour. We'll do that speech at the other one. So he was at the American Legion, and he talked about Go Cut 3. Click, 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 click.
Something that they've been trying to pass for 40 years, and we've passed VA accountability legislation.
Hey.
So if somebody that works at the VA is bad to the people of the VA, disrespectful, not treating our fellow patriots well, we look at them and we say, you're fired.
You're fired. You're fired.
They don't do a good job, they're out.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been to the VA. You're fired.
Yeah.
But, Trump is doing exactly what he said he was going to do, clean up the VA. Sure. Are our veterans getting the health care they need? I sure hope so, because they deserve it. They earned it, and they earn our respect. Here's something else that they earned. Play cut 6 for me.
Last week, I also signed the Harry W. Colmery Veterans Educational Assistant Act. This legislation bears the name of one of the first members of the Legion, your past commander, a man who wrote the original draft of the first landmark GI Bill in 1944. And now, under this legislation, veterans can use their GI benefits at any point in their lifetime.
Trump is evil.
Trump is evil.
Nah. He's like, no, we're not. Nah. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and crack out, because we are going to talk next hour about the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Our friends at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Yeah.
Our friends at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Friends in air quotes.
Are lunatics. We know them. We hate them. They're crazy. And they say that public employees are not allowed any religious displays at all. And we'll tie that in with the Southern Poverty Law Center, another group of liberal lunatics.
All right.
Who talk about hate groups. They like their hate groups. It's Earl and George. We'll be right back next hour. Don't go anywhere. You might miss something important.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hi, Mom. Is Claire's birthday party today? Me again, Mom. Where did I put my history book? Hi. Sorry, forgot one last thing. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate. At school, I start looking out the window, and then I forget what I was supposed to be thinking about. I know it seems like I don't care, but I do. It's just difficult for me. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? Amid the chaos? Or is the best time perhaps today? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Over yonder, you're listening to Earl and George.
Uh-huh. How you like me now? Oh. Hey, switch sides with me, man. Yeah, you're going to have to take those headphones over there and just switch sides with me. You know, it happens. It's Earl and George. It's aged conservative talk. Just move my computer out of the way. Where we wrap up the week's crazy news stories, and this is where you're going to get true political analysis. Seriously, like if you turn on the fake news, it's just not happening there. Okay, so when we go through the week's stories and we find these things, we're doing research on them. I'm having him. Earl's bringing up stories. I'm bringing up stories, and that's what we do because politics to us. I used to tell people all the time. They're like, politics to me is like a martial art,
Yep.
Right? You got to be good at it. You got to hone your craft. So we talked about just last hour, we talked about the Southern Poverty Law Center. And we talked about the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and how the Ninth Circuit Court actually came out with a ruling that said that, in fact, here, I'll read you the story if I can. Quickly scanned through all of the articles.
You got too many papers. You should save the trees.
Save the trees. So when Coach Joe Kennedy, remember the story about the Coach Joe Kennedy?
Yeah.
He appealed to the Ninth Circuit Court to protect his First Amendment right to practice his religion on Wednesday. Why would he go there?
I don't know. Well, where is he from? I forget what school he was in. He was in Texas, wasn't he? He's in Texas.
Bremerton. It's Bremerton. The only Bremerton I know is in Washington.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's the Ninth Circuit covers
right.
Washington. So he was actually he had prayed with his students with the football team or something like that. There was a big story about it last year.
He was praying on the field by himself, and then
everybody joined him.
Yeah,
right. So he goes and he was fired. He was apparently fired by Bremerton High School. They said that the court ruled against him, and they issued an opinion that Bremerton High School had the right to fire him for engaging in private prayer for 15 to 30 seconds after each high school game.
Yep.
30 seconds of prayer. That's pretty evil.
I'm trying to figure out why he went to the Ninth Court.
I don't know.
Washington is not covered by him.
Oh, they're not?
No, only the district.
It could have been another Bremerton.
It's Eastern District of Washington and the Western District. Sorry, I didn't read far enough now.
So attorney Jeremy Dice, whose firm represents Kennedy, said, quote, looked like he was tying his shoe from a long distance, end quote.
Right.
Eventually, players joined their coach in the prayer, which attracted the attention of an opposing team's coach after several years had passed. That coach contacted the school district, who asked Coach Kennedy to modify his behavior. He initially did, then applied for an exemption under the 1964 Civil Rights Act. He then engaged in silent prayer that others joined of their own accord. That eventually led the school the school district to fail to renew his contract after placing him on leave.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
The district court sided with the school district when Kennedy filed a discrimination suit in the Ninth Circuit Court. U.S. In turn upheld their ruling. The court said that, quote, any outward display of religion, end quote, are banned on campus.
Yeah, because they claim, separation of church and state.
But what if the coach is going about his or her business wearing a sweatshirt with the campus logo on it? Can a Jewish coach wear a yarmulke on the sidelines? Can a teacher even wear a crucifix around their neck? Dice told that radio show where he was being interviewed that sometimes kids link arms in prayer when their kicker attempts a field goal.
Wow, they got a good point though.
It's still, again, they're evil. Maybe they're not evil enough.
You're quasi-evil.
Quasi-evil. Okay. In a follow-up story about religion and the First Amendment, we are going to get into the Southern Poverty Law Center. We got a lot of Christian stories here.
Do we have to? I hate that.
We have to. We do not have a choice today. This is the one that's going to make your eyes bleed. Just for full disclosure, I am not a Catholic.
Oh, great.
And you
I
are.
am a Catholic. Usually if you start a sentence like that, I know exactly what's going on.
When I start a sentence with, I'm not a Catholic, it's a Catholic story.
Yeah. It means it's time for Earl to listen
Oh, we were going to do the Trump rally. Well, we'll do that next. We'll do that next when we come back. A Catholic school in California.
There you go.
California has removed religious statues from its campus in an effort to be more inclusive. What? I knew when I woke up this morning I was going to say something as frickin' ludicrous as a Catholic school has removed religious statues from its campus in an effort to be more inclusive.
Then they're not Catholic.
I'm speechless.
Right? I mean, that's what. Look, okay, I don't speak for every Catholic out there, and if I'm about to offend you, then you're a snowflake. Catholics. The entire thing about Catholics that you can depend on with Catholics is religious statues are everywhere. You come.
Oh no! Not religious statues everywhere.
I love it. You come to my house, you can't even go to the bathroom in peace without seeing a thing of Jesus or Mary or something somewhere.
Does he watch you pee?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
no!
Yes.
You're one of those houses
Yes.
where Jesus watches you pee.
Yes, I am.
Oh my gosh! According to the report, parents of students attending. Wait, I've turned myself up and you down. I had it backwards. There we go. Now talk.
Hello.
There you are.
Oh wow!
I had the mics backwards.
I like your mic.
According to that's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice. Spare no expense for only that chair. According to the report, parents of students attending the San Domenicio school in San whatever raised concerns about the removal of the statues of Jesus and the Virgin Mary.
This is insane.
The school is an independent Catholic school, meaning it's not operated by a Catholic parish or religious order.
Oh, there you go.
Shannon Fitzpatrick, whose 8-year-old son attends San Domenico School, wrote an email to the school board of directors, the Dominican Sisters of San Rafael, that, quote, articulating an inclusive foundation appears to mean letting go of San Domenico's 167-year tradition as a Dominican Catholic school and being both afraid and ashamed to celebrate one's heritage and beliefs.
Wow.
Yep. Let's see. Cheryl Newell, the mother of 4 graduates from the school, told that news agency, quote, I am entirely disappointed in the school and the direction. It's a Catholic school.
Right. But they said it's not controlled by a parish or anything, though. So
it's a Catholic school.
Yeah, they should take their name Catholic off of it.
Yes, it should be the San Domenico all-inclusive school.
Right.
Let's see. Supporters of the decision said the removal of the statues would make a more inclusive environment for children of other faiths. It's a Catholic school.
And I'm tired of people trying to include other faiths, because if they're going to come and worship, they should worship how they're coming.
Here's my thing. Did you go to Catholic? Did you go to Catholic school?
Yeah.
How many Muslims were in your Catholic school?
None.
I'm sorry. How many?
None.
Just do the math for me real quick and just add up all of the Muslims that were at your Catholic school.
I got to divide.
If you need to take your shoes off, go ahead. You got a computer in front of you, a calculator. You need a slide rule or anything. Just how many Muslims were at your Catholic school? Just go ahead and be honest. Tell the American people. It was 100, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we did have a couple of Jewish students there, though.
Did they graduate, or did they freak out every time they walked past the Virgin Mary, which, by the way, in Catholicism is everywhere?
Yeah, it's a big deal.
She's a biggie.
Yeah, she's kind of the center to it. So just saying.
Those Jews were just fine.
Yeah.
The Jews were just fine.
They were fine. And I never once heard somebody say, man, we should take that Jesus statue down.
Can I just say?
Because he was in the bathroom there, too. So
yeah, he watches you pee. I never really associated Catholic school and inclusion in the same thing. I never really, the Catholics were like, hey, we're a Catholic school. Here's what we believe. Here's what we do. We got a lot of statues. We got sacraments. We've got this and that. Very, 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 we've been around for, a long time.
First church founded.
It's not like, it's not like the people that walk up and they go, oh, man, that Catholic school. I would send my kids there, but you got to take down that one and that one and that one. And we don't want Jesus watching our daughter pee and blah, blah, blah,
He's a man. What is he doing in the ladies' room?
They go find another school.
Right. That's what sane people think.
It is a Catholic school.
Right. It's like there's several Christian schools that are being challenged by Muslims now that are saying we don't want our kids going to this Christian school and having to pray to Christ. We'd rather them pray to Muhammad. And
so go to a Muslim school.
Exactly.
But or found one yourself.
They're not doing that. And there's a lot of people, particularly in my church, there are a lot of people that are talking about that they think that there's an attack on us from every angle now.
Yeah.
On religion as a whole, not just Catholics like this particular story.
Wow.
That's a tin hat.
It's insane, dude.
Yeah,
it really is.
Why would you go somewhere, like why would I show up to a Jewish person's house and demand that they stop reading the Torah and let me pray and do what I want to do? That's insane. I'm going to a Jewish person's house. I respect their faith as they should respect mine. But I digress.
I totally, absolutely agree. I have, in my life, again, with a weird resume, I have had the opportunity to work alongside many, many people of different faiths. I have been able to work and pray alongside many people of different faiths. I have studied Torah with Orthodox rabbis. I have been to the great mosques of the world and prayed inside them, to include Jerusalem and the largest mosque outside of Mecca, which is in Adana, Turkey. I have gone to Mass at some fantastic places. I've been to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, where apparently Jesus was laid to rest.
Yeah.
So I'm a student of faith. I'm a student of religion. I have my own beliefs. But if you're going to go to a Catholic school, don't say, man, there's a lot of statues of Jesus around here. What the heck is going on?
Because it's kind of changing the Catholic
I think we need
doctrine.
to have a school board meeting, and seriously, we need to, speaking of school board, when we come back from this break, we're going to talk about the school board, and we're going to get into some of the statements that the president made in Phoenix.
Yeah.
We are going to take a little bit of a local slant here with the school board discussion.
Oh.
And we'll talk about the liberal diseased mind when we come back. It's Earl and George. Don't go anywhere, my friends.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Iron Maiden.
Indeed.
Mama always said that if you keep playing with it, it'll fall off. You're listening to Earl and George.
So not true. It's Earl and George.
We showed her.
Age conservative talk. Can I just have a closet Iron Maiden fan?
Right.
Seriously. So the Southern Poverty Law Center. You know, do we want to talk about these idiots? I'm just going to read the title because it really kind of goes to what we were talking about just a minute ago. The Southern Poverty Law Center calls Christians, quote, hate group.
All of us?
The Southern Poverty Law Center has been trying to marginalize Christian beliefs for a while now, while Christians are pushing back. The D. James Kennedy Ministries. Did you pull them up for me earlier?
Yes. I gotta
is there like an about page for the D. James Kennedy Ministries in Fort Lauderdale, Florida?
Yes, but I've got like several things.
You have things going on there. But so they were listed as a hate group.
Here they are.
And of course, did you find them?
Yeah.
Okay, is there an about page?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about this hate group.
D. James Kennedy had a large vision, a vision for making a global impact for Christ.
It's despicable.
One Sunday evening in 1960, he read Jeremiah 33:3 to his small congregation. No more than 15 to 20 people were present, but after he read the following from Jeremiah 33:3, call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not.
Evil.
Yep, that was in 1960 that he did that, and they've been around since 1960.
They've now lumped the D. James Kennedy Ministries in with folks like the Ku Klux Klan, the neo-Nazi movement, and this is what the Southern Poverty Law Center does. They delegitimize actual legitimate organizations. And I'm not saying that the KKK and the neo-Nazis don't need to be delegitimized, because they do.
Right.
They are evil. We know this. But by lumping organizations in that are pro-family, pro-marriage, pro-life, they lump them all in together and they marginalize them.
That's the big part, is the pro-life.
And we're going to show you in the next couple of minutes exactly how the media is tied into this, how all of this, the BLM movement, and it's all tied together to delegitimize you.
Right.
And your beliefs and your philosophy and the founding philosophy of our country. So we're going to jump over now. We're going to talk about President had a rally in Phoenix. And I'm just going to play a couple of what I'm going to call unmolested cuts.
Wow.
Because I molested a couple of them, I'll be honest.
Right.
But I molested them in a good way. Here's, we already did that one. Let me see. We're going to do... let's just jump straight into this one. Here we go. Here we go.
This evening, joined together with friends, we reaffirm our shared customs, traditions, and values.
Okay.
We love our country.
Indeed.
We celebrate our troops.
Yes.
We embrace our freedom.
Yes.
We respect our flag.
Yes.
We are proud of our history.
Yes.
We cherish our Constitution,
Yes.
including, by the way, the Second Amendment.
Yes.
Is there anything wrong with what he has said so far?
No.
Okay. Let me ask one more time. Is there anything wrong with what he has said? No. Okay. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay. You want to retract that and
no.
Okay. A couple more seconds to change your mind.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, baby. Say it loud, say it proud.
Apparently the crowd agrees with you and I.
We fully protect religious liberty.
Thank you.
We believe in law and order, and we support the incredible men and women of law enforcement.
Thank you.
How dare you?
And we pledge our allegiance to one nation under God.
There it is.
Trump is evil. Trump is evil.
That is one of the co-founders of BLM. I'm going to play the president's remarks again, but I want you to listen because in the background, you might be able to hear the BLM.
This evening, joined together with friends, we reaffirm our shared customs, traditions, and values.
Evil.
We love our country.
Evil.
We celebrate our troops.
Evil.
We embrace our freedom.
Evil.
We respect our flag.
Evil.
We are proud of our history.
Evil.
Wow.
We cherish our Constitution,
Evil.
including, by the way, the Second Amendment.
Trump is evil.
Really?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound evil to me. I kind of agree with everything that he said.
I'm surprised they're not saying it's evil that they're shouting USA. How dare
Well,
they?
of course it is. Because CNN's Don Lemon said this about that exact speech.
I'm just going to speak from the heart here. What we have witnessed was a total...
And listen to the music in the background, because
Right.
Earl, you made a great comment earlier about this.
Yeah. I'm the one that pointed out that they're playing You Can't Always Get What You Want on purpose because they're purposely saying that subliminally to the President of the United States.
clips of the facts. Someone who came out on stage and lied directly to the American people.
What?
Yeah.
How by saying we believe in the Constitution, we believe in our flag, we believe in our police officers, we cherish our soldiers, we are one in the same, we are together in this. He even said in another cut, he said, in another clip, he said, an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. Don Lemon was apparently listening to a completely different speech.
And left things out that he said in an attempt to rewrite history.
Rewrite history.
What are you talking about?
Especially when it comes to Charlottesville.
That's the whole thing. Yeah.
So that's what it is.
That's now part of our entire history.
That's the entire thing. It's a complete and total falsehood. How many times does he need to say that the neo-Nazis are bad?
Right.
He's unhinged.
Unhinged.
You're unhinged, Lemon.
Wow.
Why are you on television, you moron?
It's embarrassing.
To watch your show.
To hear him talk about our president that way.
You're an idiot. What speech were you listening to?
I don't mean for us, the media, because he went after us, but for the country.
He's hurt.
This is who we elected president of the United States. A man who is so petty that he has to go after people who he deems to be his enemy, like an imaginary friend of a 6-year-old.
I like how he says the president's being petty.
Exactly. And CNN's playing you don't always get you what you want. And then he's like, because he came after us, like he can't, he's all butthurt.
Yep. Exactly.
He is totally butthurt. Don Lemon got his feelings hurt. Oh, poor Don Lemon got his feelings hurt, everybody. The poor guy.
Bless
just
him.
Unbelievable, man.
His speech was without thought. It was without reason. It was devoid of facts. It was devoid of wisdom. There was no gravitas. There was no sanity there. He was like a child blaming a sibling on something else.
Oh, my God.
He did it. I didn't do it. He certainly opened up the race wound from Charlottesville.
He did.
A man clearly wounded by the rational people who are abandoning him in droves, meaning those business people and the people in Washington now who are questioning his fitness for office.
Those are all liberals.
And
what are
whether
you talking
he
about?
is stable. A man backed into a corner, it seems,
Maxine
by
Waters.
circumstances beyond his control and beyond his understanding.
Dude. What a nutcase.
That's the truth. If you watch that speech as an American, you had to be thinking, what in the world is going on? This is the person we elected as a president of the United States? This petty? This small? The person who's supposed to pull the country together? Certainly didn't happen there.
This evening, joined together with friends, we reaffirm our shared customs, traditions, and values. We love our country.
Yes!
We celebrate our troops.
Yes!
We embrace our freedom.
Yes!
We respect our flag.
Yes!
We are proud of our history.
Yes!
We cherish our Constitution,
Yes!
including, by the way, the Second Amendment.
Yes! What the hell is Don Lemon talking about? If you watch CNN, turn off your radio right now. I don't want you listening to this show. You're an idiot. If you believe Don Lemon says that is petty and childish and doesn't say anything about bringing the country together, stop listening to Earl and George.
We protect religious liberty.
Yes.
We believe in law and order, and
Yes.
we support the incredible men and women of law enforcement.
Unbelievable.
And we pledge our allegiance to one nation under God.
I mean,
This is the
that's
same-
right.
this is
Wait
the
a
same.
minute.
Trump is...
That's right. Yes.
But this is the same Don Lemon that told Kathy Griffith on live TV she had a nice rack.
Whatever. If you consume that, you need to get your head examined. If you consume CNN, I'll call them out. Don, call me, man. We have an 800 number. I'll pay for the call. I almost said, bro. He would have been like, "Oh my God, that's
You're
racist.
Your name George is racist."
Just Don, seriously, you have zero integrity, man. Zero. You're paid by a company with zero integrity. How do you sleep at night when your head hits the pillow, Lemon? How do you close your eyes and go, man, I helped this country today?
Right.
Man, I did really good on my show today. I brought the world together today. You know, when you're put in front of millions of people, you know this microphone? This is a weapon of mass destruction.
Indeed.
And you're not even seeing my face. When you're put in front of millions of people and you look at them and you go, from the heart, our president is unhinged. Our president is a child.
Adding fuel.
How do you help the situation? That is an eclipse of the facts. Your entire career is an eclipse of the facts.
Right.
You have, and it's a coordinated effort. And we are not stupid, Don. We are not stupid. We see the coordinated effort. We're not tinfoil hats, dance around a fire, crazy naked toga wearing weirdos. Okay? We see it. It is a coordinated effort to totally delegitimize the president of the United States and the agenda that the majority of Americans voted for. Shame on you. You said you were a journalist. You're a joke.
I'd like to point out I do dance around naked wearing a toga.
I've seen it, everybody. The video will be on earlandgeorge.com later this afternoon.
No, but I told you what their whole thing about the rewriting history is about. It's because he didn't include in his speech when he said he condemned everybody, he didn't include that he said both sides, which, again, there was a CNN panel, and they agreed that both sides were bad.
Yeah.
They agreed with it on live TV, and the reporter couldn't believe she was hearing it.
Lost her mind.
Yeah.
Here's the president again talking about infrastructure. Does this sound like an unhinged child to you?
We're going to do an infrastructure bill. We will build gleaming new roads, bridges, highways, railways, waterways,
Gonna be
all
huge.
across our beautiful land. Our greatest creations, our most incredible buildings, our most beautiful works of art are just waiting to be brought to life. American hands will build this future. American energy will power this future. We have become an energy exporter for the first time ever just recently.
It boggles my mind.
Trump is evil.
How in the world can you watch the president of the United States say, we're going to bring jobs to the country, we're going to build roads, we're going to shore up our bridges, we're going to bring the country together, an attack on one of us is an attack on all, we love the Constitution, we love the country, and call him unhinged? Yes, he's a terrible public speaker. Okay, I totally agree with you. But he's not unhinged, and you wonder why we're all like, yeah, man, attack the news. Exactly, that's what they do. They're supposed to be journalists. They're supposed to have journalistic ethics. Ethics, Don. Look up the word.
Integrity.
It drives me crazy, and then I sound like this, right?
Right.
Talk me down from the crazy tree, Earl, because this literally just makes me go insane.
Yeah, you're starting to get a little blown up there.
I can't stand it. I can't stand people who have so much power and use it for evil.
Right. They could do so much well for the country, so much good for the country, and they're not doing it.
It's crazy. By the way, before the show, you were like, I'm really going to speak up today. Come on. Because you're like, it could do really so much good for the country.
We changed mics, and now I'm a little bit out of my zone.
No, man. Come on. Okay. Yeah, I know. I really don't want to take a break. I'm rolling.
Right.
I don't care at this point. I'm so fired up because of this kind of crap, and it happens all the time. It's the same thing with Maxine Waters.
Your favorite
We're going to impeach him for what? We'll find out for what when we impeach him. Are you kidding me? Well, there's no evidence. I've said that, but he's going to lead us to the evidence. What evidence? No means no. There's no evidence.
And there's a huge investigation going on now into Robert Mueller.
Yep.
Right.
If got it.
Yeah. If that whole thing is a crap sheet or not. So, interesting.
Yep. Hold on.
But Maxine Waters, like I said, she famously said, if you come after me, then I'm coming after you to impeach you. So she basically threatened the president, which was interesting. Threatened him with impeachment. That they can't even do. All these people keep hollering about impeachment. That's why they're saying things like he's unhinged.
Yes.
Because they're trying to make their legal argument.
Right. Did you hear what Don Lemon said? He was like, does he have the mental capacity to serve as It doesn't matter. He was elected. Mental capacity or not. He could be drooling right now and sign a bill, okay?
Yeah, because President Reagan is when people started questioning, if there was the mental capacity, and that's the reason people were like, well, maybe they should have removed him from office because Nancy was probably doing a lot of the things for him. He didn't understand what was going on. That's why they're trying to make this argument, and I guarantee you they'll use that as a case.
And then we elected George W. Bush, who literally could not speak English, okay?
Nuclear.
He spoke Spanish better than he spoke English.
Yes, he did.
Mental capacity. But you talk about mental capacity. How about half these senators and representatives that we keep electing from, I don't know, California?
Go ahead, secede.
I mean, Nancy Pelosi is walking through. She's been in Congress for 24 years. She walks the same route every day through what's called the statuary. But this week was like, oh my gosh, we've got 2 statues in here that need to be taken out. Well, what about the other 26 and a half years, you moron?
Right.
No, there's no problem with them then.
But now it's part of the narrative.
Oh, now it's Trump's fault. Trump this, Trump that. My goodness. And what did she say earlier in the show? Racism is evil, capitalism is evil, sexism is evil, and homophobia is evil. Yep, you got 75% up. You're 3 for 4.
Right.
But you know what else is evil?
No.
Republicans.
Of course.
An instructor...
The minority party.
An instructor at Clemson University wrote a series of public posts on his Facebook page denouncing Republicans, calling them racist scum and naive.
Clemson?
Yes.
Wow.
According to Campus Reform, Bart Kniginen.
Oh, yeah.
Kniginen. Kningy. We're going to call him Kningy. Bart Kningy. He's my boy.
Sorry, Bart.
Bart Kningy, Bart K. Professor of Human-centered computing.
What?
Yes, exactly. What is that?
Human-centered computing.
Bart wrote a series on Facebook post criticizing the Republican Party as a whole and encouraging others not to turn a blind eye to the problem created by GOP ideals. Quote, all Trump supporters, nay, all Republicans are racist scum.
This guy takes the cake for being a moron.
Everybody.
He does realize that some Democrats had to vote for the president for him to be elected, right?
Quote, all Republicans, ? Yes, your complacency made this happen. Pick a side, denounce your affiliation, or admit you're a racist.
Oh, my God. My head hurts.
That's if you send your kids to the human-centered computing department at Clemson. That's what's going into your kids' ears right now.
The definition of it is kind of strange. It says it's the study. It studies the design, development, and deployment of mixed initiative human-computer systems.
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Keningi says he's taught at Clemson since 2015, went on to accuse Republicans of merely criticizing President Donald Trump for political gain without taking any action to back up the criticism. Quote, I haven't seen any of them renounce their political affiliation yet, he said for a former student questioning his harsh generalization. Quote, in fact, all of them fell in line with Trump once he became president. They selectively criticize him when it is politically convenient to do so, but they don't take any actual sustained actions. Really?
He sounded more racist than anything.
Really?
Right.
I don't remember that happening during the Obama administration. Because I'll tell you something right now, Keningi. If President Trump, which we talk about all the time, if they start playing the swamp Republican line, if he starts towing the McConnell line, believe me, I will tear into him.
Right.
I'm not going to renounce my conservatism or my Republican affiliation because the president goes along with the likes of Mitch McConnell.
Right.
Okay? But do you see what he's doing here? It's more insidious than you think. He's saying, because they don't do that. Neither does the Democrats.
Because they're infallible. They're never wrong.
Of course they're not. Keningi also called for violence to be used against white supremacists. I hate that word. Supremacists. Saying that it was up to others to stop them. Oh, good. Vigilantism. Yay! Yeah, forget the rule of law. We're just going to go out there with baseball bats because you know what? When we punch a Nazi, it's good.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they look at you and deem you a white supremacist. I was called a racist. So,
yeah, we're going to talk about that in just a second. I want to get a quote. The Republican ideology of everyone is equal and nobody deserves a handout is naive at best, covertly racist at worst. I truly believe that turning a blind eye makes you complicit in what is happening now. Everyone is equal and no one deserves a handout.
What?
That's what he said. He said the Republican ideology of, quote, everyone is equal and nobody deserves a handout. Now, I'm fairly certain that Republicans and conservatives believe that only those that actually need a handout should receive a handout.
Right, and it's not a handout at that point. It's actually
a hand up.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, right. But no. He's bought, man, this guy has drank the Kool-Aid.
Purple.
This society is aggressively structured to make cis white males succeed at the expense of minorities, he said.
There it is.
Yeah. Go back to Dutchland or whatever Knigenberg comes from. Quote, I admire anyone who stands up against white supremacy. Hey, so do I.
Yeah, right.
Go figure. This guy must be a conservative Christian Republican.
In the closet. He's a closet.
Violent or nonviolent. This needs to admire who stands up against white supremacy, violent or nonviolent. See, that's where I disagree. I don't want violence. They do.
Right.
They want violence in our streets. You know why? Because violence leads to totalitarianism.
Yep.
This needs to stop by any means necessary. #punch Nazis. I have served this country. I fought wars. Believe me, I don't want to fight another one, but it's coming, man.
Yep.
It's coming. And you know the weird part is, no matter what we do, we're going to find ourselves on the side of the lunatic right. We are going to find ourselves, there won't be a center.
Right.
I am right of center, but I am not like well, I'm trying to think of what's right of me. Because, Nazism is left, socialism is left, communism is left. I guess what is right? Like what I'm trying, like I'm not that far off center right, but I know what's right and what's wrong. And you don't advocate for violence
ever.
It's, we hopefully live in a peaceful American republic where we can discuss our differences. And when we come back, you discussed your differences.
Yeah, that was
at a store today.
Yeah, well, it was the other day. It was actually pretty alarming. Yeah.
Yeah. Earl, tell me that story when we come back. It's George and Earl. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this, guys.
Chris, you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
There's your comic book collection, the race car bed.
I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I'm taking control over my financial life, and that feels pretty grown-up to me.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. Are those footy pajamas?
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I'll have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk.
So a first grader at a charter school in what state do you think this story's from?
California.
It
doesn't surprise me.
California was sent to the principal's office and faced disciplinary action.
For what?
Well, this first grader, it's a first grade girl. She was on the playground. She had been in class with a little boy all last year. I'm not going to give any names. They're minors. To this year, they're in a different class. The little girl and the little boy.
It happens.
She saw him on the playground and called his name.
Really?
Yep. I don't know. Let's play it out. Like little Susie was like, "Hey, Jimmy, let's go play on the basketball court."
Right? As kids would do.
However, the newspaper contacted the girl's parents, who were outraged that she was sent to the principal's office and faced disciplinary action.
I'm still waiting to hear why.
For misgenderizing the kid. The girl was told, "You can't do that. His name is this name. You can't call him a her," after the little girl misgendered her schoolmate, who was a boy last year. First freaking grade.
Wow.
Now that means last year they were what? Kindergarten?
Yeah, K-5 at least.
Yeah. And then this year they're both girls. She didn't know. She's like, "That's Jimmy. And that's Janice."
Oh, wow.
Whatever. I don't know the names,
Dude.
Quote, "Imagine how difficult it is for that first grader to try to understand that the person that she knew as a boy all last year is suddenly now a girl.
Exactly.
And to hold her to account for that, to send her to the principal's office because she honestly didn't understand what this means, is mind-boggling." That is from Chris Planty, who is the policy director of the Family Policy Institute of Washington.
Wow.
Who's defending the little girl.
Dude.
The school
I feel sorry for the little kids nowadays. having to put up with all of this.
It's crazy, man.
Yep.
It's craziness. There's some question about the sequence of events because the school is refusing to answer questions.
Of course.
They're telling parents to ask their 5-year-olds what happened.
Oh, my God. Really? Like a 5-year-old's going to remember everything.
They have so far interviewed 1/3 of the students. Again, these are kindergartners. But they all agreed that he came to school dressed one way and at some point in the day changed, and that his name became a girl's name in the middle of the day.
Oh, my God. Seriously?
Yeah.
So he went to the bathroom and did a Superman and came out completely different.
Quote, these kids who have never struggled with their gender identity before are all of a sudden scared that they could be turned into a boy. Director of Capital Engagement for the California Family Council said.
And see, this is the whole thing that worries me. Like I said, the kids that are going to be affected by it. Like the little girl doesn't understand why her friend who was, Jimmy last year is now Janice this year. She doesn't comprehend it.
Who are these parents?
Right? And that I would be interested to know who Janice's parents are.
Who are these parents that are like, you're wearing pants to school today, Jimmy. I'm Janice. Jimmy. Right. And then he comes home. You're wearing a dress, Jimmy. I'm Janice. Janice.
Right.
Like, how confused are these parents?
Yep.
Well, we need to be inclusive. At least the school you go to doesn't have any crucifixes and Jesus in it, All right. So tell everybody what happened to you. We're talking about, I am stunned when he told me this story. I'm sorry. Go
right. I was out at a store. I'm not going to say the store, but I was out doing, errands and picking up some mail and doing things that I have to do throughout my day or whatever.
Yeah.
And I am follically challenged, shall we say, or I'm beginning to be follically challenged.
What does that mean?
I'm going bald. Thanks. I actually bald is beautiful. I'm embracing it. So I've been shaving my head completely bald, so you don't see the so you don't see the patches in my hair, right? Because it looks ridiculous to have bald patches. So
right.
I've been straight razoring it bald, and I was out with my child the other day, and a African American
black dude,
approached me about me being racist because of my appearance and the way that I am dressed. I normally wear.
Wait a minute. Do you mean he profiled you?
Exactly.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Of course not.
And he actually.
Were you like all tatted up with swastikas and you had on the back of your giant truck, you had a big old Confederate flag, right?
I wish I had the flag.
Whoa. Were you wearing your KKK uniform?
No.
Oh. So no, you just walked in there
I don't
wearing.
own one.
You don't own one?
No, I don't own
man,
one.
Let me tell you, I can get you a discount.
Regardless of what the guy said about all Republicans being racist. Yeah, and
Republicans.
He accosted me in front of my kid and was basically accusing me of being racist. Now, this particular place I go to a lot, and the owner there.
Is it the one I know?
Yeah, it's one.
Oh, it's the one I know.
Yeah. And the owner there was actually like, "What's going on?" Because he could see in the camera of me getting angry with this guy, and he came out wanting to know.
Were you in the lobby or outside?
I was in the lobby. I was about to leave. Yeah, I was about to leave, and he stepped down the line and said, "Excuse me." And we're in the South, so I'm like, "Yes, sir. What can I help you with?"
Yeah.
And he just tore into me.
That's a dead giveaway. When you get accosted by somebody in a local store and you call them sir, it's on. The South will rise again.
Right. And he asked me, he said, first it was a couple of things like, are you from around here? And I'm like, yeah, born and raised. And he said, so are you racist? And I took a step back like, what? And he said, yeah, you've got the haircut, you've got the dress.
You should have said, are you?
And you appear to be one of these neo-Nazis. And I told him, I said, I'm sorry, I'm bald. I can't help my genes, my genetics.
Here's what I do, because I get called racist all the time. Okay, I just like the day doesn't go by. And the funny thing is those of us that don't have a racist bone in our body, okay, are the ones that are constantly say, "Oh, he's a racist."
Right?
Why? Because I don't say African American. I say Black American.
Right?
You know why? Because you were born in America. You were an American citizen, and I respect that. You might be of African descent or Caribbean descent. I don't care. Right. I don't play this hyphenated American game, but I get called a racist all the time. So I have devised, by the way, pay attention, everybody. This is a public service announcement for everybody listening to Earl and George. I have devised the most brilliant way to turn that conversation on people.
Hit me.
Literally the minute when they go, you're a racist, fire back. I mean, without missing a beat, say, you're a pedophile.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. See what I did?
Yes.
How dare you? Yeah, it sucks to be called something you're not, doesn't it?
Yeah. Wow.
You know what? You provide evidence of my racism, and I'll provide evidence of your pedophilia, you sick bastard.
There you go.
You immediately turn the conversation on him because that's all they do, because nobody wants to be called a racist. Right. So all I do is I just turn it around on him. Nobody wants to be called a pedophile. Even pedophiles don't want to be called pedophiles.
Oh, right.
Right? Racists, they don't care if they're called racist or not. So what they do is they're like, well, you're a racist, to see your reaction and throw you off balance. Immediately, I'm telling you, it works every time. Oh, you're a racist. Instead of going, oh, yeah? How dare you call me that? Prove it. No, you immediately turn around and you say, well, you're a pedophile. Well, you have no evidence that I'm a pedophile. You're right, and you have no evidence of my racism.
Right. I've lived in this state for 3 decades, almost 4 decades now, and I've never been approached that way. And I've always kept my hair.
That's stunning to me.
Yeah, and since I was 17, I've had the goatee the way that I wear it. So, and I couldn't believe it. And
it's more like a Fu Manchu.
Right.
It really
is. Yeah.
I could see how he looked at you and was like total white supremacist.
Right. Apparently,
you know, the crucifix. The Deadpool shirt, the little spindly 14-hair goatee
right.
Fu Manchu coming off.
And it threw me off because I had one of my kids with me. And
that is wrong.
I kind of put my kid behind me like, whoa, what's going on here?
That is so wrong. So, you know, what were you doing? You were standing in line with your child, running errands, and you were accosted by somebody who immediately profiled you because your hair is not growing and you shave it.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
He actually equated me to the guy that cried, the actual Nazi dude from Charlottesville that cried on TV about, you know, we did everything right and whatever. He actually said I look like him. I forgot the guy's name, but he told me I looked a little bit like him.
Was he bigger than you, smaller than you?
He was smaller than me.
Should have laid his backside out.
He was younger. Well,
just clock him as hard as you can.
You know, I had that voice that's like
your daughter. You had your kid with you. It was your son or your daughter. Man,
and I had that voice telling me that he was looking for something like that. And if I'd have punched him, I'd have been in court.
You're right.
Trust me, that was the first thing. And I wasn't carrying at the time, and that made me even more nervous.
Yeah. Mistake number 2.
Yeah. Well,
don't shave your head.
Yeah, okay. That's why it's not shaved today, because I was like, well, maybe I need to let it grow out a little bit.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, you know.
I've never felt that bad in my life either, for somebody to just look at me and say that. And I actually told the kid. I told the kid, okay, do you know who Martin Luther King is? He said, yeah. I said, have you actually read his I Have a Dream? He said, yeah, man, they made me read it at school. I said, pay attention to what it says.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Absolutely. That moment right there was a teaching moment, Earl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully
But I'm surprised. And you know, the thing is, at least he came up and started talking to you. Had he been probably with about 5 of his friends, they simply would have attacked you for the way you look.
Right.
That's what's wrong. That's where the media and the Democrats want to take this country. Because we said it earlier today. Chaos in the streets breeds totalitarianism in government.
Yep.
And they want to be there to be the tyrants. We'll be right back with our final segment. We'll wrap it up with the douche of the week. When we come back, it's Earl and George.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn earrings today.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Michaela's got like the best earrings.
Sarah, buckle up.
I wish my name was Michaela.
We're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
It can be tough getting through to kids, but it's your job to make sure they're wearing your seatbelts. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Hi, Mom. Is Claire's birthday party today? Me again, Mom. Where did I put my history book? Hi. Sorry, forgot one last thing. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate. At school, I start looking out the window, and then I forget what I was supposed to be thinking about. I know it seems like I don't care, but I do. It's just difficult for me. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? Amid the chaos? Or is the best time perhaps today? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
See? I mean, everybody makes mistakes, right? I'm supposed to be in there behind the fancy mic.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Earl and George. We're going to wrap this one up. We got a douche of the week. I have 2 nominees this week, and you said you had several.
Yeah, I've got 3.
Go ahead with yours.
I've got Hillary Clinton for still whining about losing the election, writing a book, and even blaming everybody but herself in the audio version of it. Yes. I've got Al Gore, who is still running around telling everybody the world's not going to last for another 10 years, even though we've done it twice now. And the Russian Foreign Ministry. This one actually made me laugh. They tweeted a photo in an attempt to show that they defeated Nazis on the anniversary of the day that they actually entered into an alignment or an agreement with the Nazis.
Which, wait a minute. The Russian Foreign Ministry entered into agreement with the Nazis.
Yeah, back in World War II, wasn't it?
It had to be World War II. It certainly wasn't World War I. That must have been like when Neville Chamberlain and the British did as well. Yeah, they did. They entered in don't invade Poland. Okay, tomorrow we invade Poland.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how that went.
It was I can't pronounce it, the Molotov Pact or whatever.
Yeah. So I have 2. I have 2 douche nominees. They're both organizations this week for me. However, she kind of takes the cake for me, though.
Trump is evil.
Right? That BLM, man, Black Lives Matter co-founder, it's calling capitalism evil.
Yeah.
In the longer form of that. But Snopes.com, we had a story a couple weeks ago about Snopes.com, and I used to actually believe that they had integrity. Now, absolutely not. None. I don't use Snopes anymore. And in fact, I am submitting them begrudgingly for douche of the week. And here's what they say. And something came across Facebook that said that in 1958, a public law was passed, 85-410, that said that basically Congress designated Confederate soldiers as U.S. veterans.
Right.
And Snopes says that it's mostly false. So I went and I looked up that law. And give me 1 second because I actually have to pull that up again, 85-410. And let's just see how long it takes me to pull that up because it doesn't really take me that long.
When the computers cooperate.
Yeah, right. I found it in 10 seconds last time.
Right.
There's the fact check, and there's Public Law 85-425. Okay. So under Section 410, here's what Snopes says. It says that it's mostly false. And what it says about Public Law 85-410, let me get down to it. It says that it's mostly about pensions.
Right.
And they had some expert that they, were doing their thing. In 1958, Public Law 85-425 was passed in the Section 410, entitling the widows of deceased Confederate soldiers in 1958.
Wow.
Okay. There were very few left, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah.
90 years before is when the thing ended. To military pensions. The National Archives and Record Administration document details a matter of Confederate soldiers and pensions and shows that the law seems to recognize those who fought for the Confederacy as veterans of a war, but not necessarily of the United States military. Now, within 10 seconds, I found the actual public law, which states in Section 410, quote, the section is entitled Confederate Forces Veterans. Section 410, the administrator shall pay each person who served, not their spouse, not their widow.
Right.
It says each person who served in the military or naval forces of the Confederate States of America during the Civil War a monthly pension in the same amounts and subject to the same conditions as would have been applicable. Pay attention. As would have been applicable to such person under the laws in effect December 1957 if his service in such forces had been service in the military of the United States.
Wow. But it's mostly false.
Yeah, mostly false. This has to do with pensions of widows.
Right.
No, it says they will get the same thing as if they were in the United States military. That's exactly what that says.
Wow.
That is indisputable. And then secondly, douche of the week is from the Social Justice Collective Weekly.
Wow. Bless them.
Here's the headline of the article. Should veterans be banned? What? From UCCS and other universities. A 4-year traditional university is supposed to be a place of learning or understanding, of safety and security. However, there's an element among us who may be frustrating those goals, veterans. UCCS is known, and that's the University of... I figured that one out. Is known for a number of veterans who are full and part-time students, but these veterans of much of the school prides themselves on hurting the university. First off, many veterans openly mock the ideas of diversity and safe spaces for vulnerable members of society.
Oh, my God.
This is directly in contradiction with the mission of UCCS. Many veterans utter the mantra that they, quote, don't see color, end quote, but the problem lies in their socialization into the military culture that is that of a white supremacist organization.
Are you kidding me?
I've got the article in my hand.
University of Colorado Springs is UCCS.
Second, many students are frightened by the presence of veterans in their classrooms. Veterans usually have an overwhelming presence in the classroom, which can distract other students. This is usually true for vulnerable individuals such as LGBTQI2SAA. I don't make that crap up.
Really?
I didn't. That's what it says. LGBTQI2SAA.
Oh, my God.
Who have been known to be the butt of insensitive jokes made by veterans. What? Isn't that self?
Yeah.
Is that self a dumb pun?
Wow.
Wow. No, I thought it was funny.
Wow.
Finally, veterans usually are associated with extremist right-wing groups. Extremist right-wing groups such as the Tea Party and the NRA. In order to provide a safe place for all students, extremist right-wing groups must be suppressed on campus.
Wow.
This is not to say that veterans should not be allowed an education.
Well, really?
So congratulations, the Social Justice Weekly from what is it again?
University of Colorado Springs.
Congratulations.
You're the douche of the week.
Did you go there?
Yeah.
Because it's either Snopes or them.
No.
And I'm pretty sure it's them.
Yeah.
So
going after our vets, yeah.
So congratulations. Also, what you get for your trophy this week for being the douche of the week, you get a all-expense-paid 1-year tour of duty fighting ISIS. So you will learn what it means to be a frickin' American.
And a year in the NRA.
Yeah, we'll throw in a year membership. Thanks for joining us today. It's been Earl and George. Check us out on Spreaker, Facebook. Go to the store, earlandgeorge.com. Just look, we're capitalists. Buy a lot of our crap. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good weekend.
I'm out. Do something nice for someone you don't know. It's Earl and George.